Barton Swaim, in your book, The Speechwriter, you distill your time working for former South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford. So what was your opinion of him before you entered his inner circle?
Well, I don't know if I was ever in his inner circle, but I was in his circle. But we, in South Carolina, thought he was an extremely charming guy, very bright, articulate in his own way, but interesting, you know, in a way that a lot of politicians aren't. And he had a lot of the sort of conservative views on fiscal policy and finances that a lot of people in South Carolina appreciate. So huge admiration.
In your book, you characterize his grammar as fairly insipid. So what does it say about the man as well as the people of South Carolina who elected him to that office?
Well, you know, I don't want to be too judgmental about it, but politicians, we don't elect them to be orators or poets or writers. They may do that in the UK a little more than we do. You know, putting words together was maybe not his strong suit, at least in my view. But when I will say this, when he prepared, you know, and really thought through what he needed to say and how he needed to say it, he could knock it out of the park. But you're right. He was a bad writer. In fact, I wanted to call my book "How to Write Badly," but my editor wisely told me that that wouldn't sell.
Can you talk about the way he treated you and the rest of his staff? Because a lot of people might say, well, this is the work of an angry employee trying to get back at their more powerful boss.
Right. Well, if people are entitled to that opinion, and I would just say, read the book. And I don't think there's any way you can read it and A, not laugh, and B, wish that it hadn't been written. But no, I bear him no ill will. He's one of those bosses, and a lot of us have had bosses like this, whose sort of leadership style, if I could put it that way, consists mainly of just expressing extreme dissatisfaction with almost literally everything that his employees did. And you know, that's one way to get performance out of people. Maybe, I don't think it's the best way, but it's the way he operated, and we all in the office sort of realized that it wasn't personal, it's just, you know, how he chose to do things.
And despite his, the way I characterize it, as mistreatment of you and the rest of the office, it seems as though you rallied around him during the whole Argentina scandal, when he left the country for his mistress, told everyone that he's hiking the Appalachian Trail, and he came back and made a very awkward apology. Can you talk about what happened in the office at that time? Well,
you know, all of us realized that, yeah, okay, that was a really dumb thing to do, but we've all done dumb things. But, and if you remember the details, but after he gave the press conference, then he gave an interview a couple days later to the AP, and that's when the soulmate thing came out, and we realized, okay, you're going too far. You need to shut up now. Michael Jackson died like that day or the day before. You know, this could have all gone away without that crazy interview. I think I mentioned this in the book. It helped that a lot of the governor's enemies we regarded as kind of idiots and hypocrites. So in a weird sort of way, that was kind of a way to rally us behind him, even though at a personal level, I don't think any of us really liked him. But we appreciated his stands on a lot of the issues, and look, he said he was going to stay in, so, you know, we'll fight for him.
And he's back in Congress now, representing a district in South Carolina. Is there a certain hypocrisy there? Is that we're talking about the Bible Belt when character is supposed to be such a big part of a politician or a candidate,
right.
And meanwhile, this person really betrayed the trust of both his wife as well as the people that elected him there, and then they just put him back.
Yeah. I'm not a good analyst of public opinion, but I do know a lot of people who would otherwise certainly vote for him and not for a more liberal candidate, but had a real problem with it. And then there was probably some sort of centrist or whatever who thought, well, this is the, you know, we already know the worst of him. He's already made sort of a clown of himself. How much worse can it get? So I don't know what the thinking was there.
The devil you know, perhaps.
Right, and he has a lot of credibility on spending issues and taxes, and people appreciate him for that still. And that's his home, that's his home, Charleston. So
as a speechwriter, what do you make of the current crop of candidates? Do you prefer the ones who speak off the cuff, like Donald Trump, or do you like the ones who are scripted and who follow the things that you may have written?
Right. Well, there's got to be a balance, right? So some of these guys, and I don't want to name politicians, but some politicians, they're always scripted, and whatever comes out seems like it's gone through several different levels of talking point writers. And then you got other guys who, for whatever reason, arrogance or something, just refuse to say what was intended for him to say, and they end up making clowns out of themselves also. You appreciate the more unscripted ones because it's more interesting to watch, and you never know when something crazy is going to happen. But you can't be president and do that because we don't always want to be talking about whatever crazy thing you just said. So be responsible. Sometimes just be scripted.
Well, all right. Well, thanks a lot for coming and talking about a great book.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for watching The Street.